Rationalisation, optimisation, Bernie, these are business jargon words. We want to get a bit behind the jargon. But you were in a bad place a year to 18 months ago. A better place now, as shown by revenue up to 1.8 billion from 1.4, and earnings up 3 times, more interest to investors there to 133 million. So you've done some things.
Yeah, I think, look, you know, we had some loss-making contracts. We've got all of those behind us now. Focus was on risk management. I think we had done it in the past, but we've formalized it more now. And obviously that's a focus area for us. And, you know, in terms of good corporate governance and all those sort of things, you have to do that.
What was the problem? And perhaps you could give an example of the kind of thing you ran into, because the company was going along nicely and then it hit these rocks.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit of maybe getting a bit overbaked before the World Cup. And then, you know, we had 2 particularly bad years of rain, and it was the type of rain, the quantity of rain and the type of contracts that we had running at that time. It affected 3 contracts, 2 road contracts and our last contract on Gautrain. And it was really working in trenches in the middle of the road or next to existing railway lines.
You mentioned the overbaking before the World Cup. I mean, there was a great excitement going into the World Cup. You benefit from it. Your kind of business also, you're in the early stages of many of these construction contracts, so you're a kind of early indicator of activity. Disappointment after the World Cup? Did you expect the slump?
Yeah, well, not to the extent that it did take place. Our geotechnical business, directly after the World Cup in the second half, it just halved. So the work just disappeared, and it only came back in sort of towards, you know, during last year. But also, you know, we'd set up, we were anticipating growth, and then, you know, the whole world went into turmoil, you know, going back some time now. And that growth just never materialized. But we're starting to see that coming down. I think we're all proud people. You know, we had these loss-making contracts. One likes to recover from that, and we've done it ourselves. We haven't called in any sort of experts or anything. You know, we've just taken a long, hard look. We looked at the profitability of our contracting portfolio. We addressed the problems that we had. We got rid of those contracts. We've sort of been more selective on work that we've taken on. Of course, that's easy to say, but one has to be able to have those contracts to be able to do that. And, you know, and we think we've got better margins.
There's a saying they tell me in the engineering profession, work is work. I mean, it's not easy to turn down work, particularly when you've been battling.
That's very true, yeah. So, but, you know, maybe a little bit more emphasis on product diversity. We've got a bit into sort of housing development. So spread those revenue streams and also develop the relationships that we have in some of the mines and get that going forward. You know, good safety records, environmentals, quality, you know, and just get repeat business in those
just give us an
areas.
Idea of the division, because you've got geotechnical, which you've talked about. That's done well in Mauritius and Mozambique. So then you've got Esorfranki civils and Esorfranki pipelines. What's the balance between them? Geotechnical
has been the biggest contributor, but I think they're being overtaken by civils now. In fact, they are being overtaken by civils. And but you know, the geotechnical is an old, mature business. There's good margin there. It has stabilized after that sort of little blip after the World Cup. On the pipeline side, that's been a bit disappointing for us over the last couple of years.
Wasn't that one of your big contractual issues?
That was one of our big contractual issues. We had that Western Aqueduct contract that was set aside. We had to replace that revenue. We've gone a long way to replacing that revenue. And in fact, since these numbers have come out, we have been awarded quite a bit more work in all 3 divisions. So, you know, we're in a much better space.
Fair to say that you're being not carried, but getting more benefit from your foreign operations than South African at the moment, but that positions you to do well when there's an uptake in South Africa.
Yeah, look, when work is available locally, obviously, you know, that's our preference. It is difficult working across borders, but we have been established in the areas that we work in, you know, Angola, obviously Ghana and Uganda are new markets for us. Ghana is actually quite nice. We've got 4 contracts, one's finished, and we've got one rather large contract, about 120 million rand, marine based. So, and obviously Mozambique, there's work, there's quite a lot of work coming out in Mozambique. You tend to get a better margin working across border, but it is riskier, obviously. So at the moment, we're only doing this on the geotechnical section, although we have been awarded some work in Botswana on the civil side as well.
A lot's been said about government's infrastructure plans, but they are not coming through. The spending isn't happening, whether it's to do with bureaucracy or an inability to get hold of the money, whatever. Are you optimistic about the plans coming to fruition?
I think they will come to fruition. I mean, there's a lot being said about it, and it seems to be, you know, it is being driven. I think it's maybe second half of this year, you know, a few months' time, we might see some development there. We haven't taken that into account in our reckoning, so we're not speculating about the future based on any infrastructure work.
So if there is an increase, it's a bonus?
It's going to be a bonus to us, yeah. And then we hope to benefit on in all three divisions.
Africa, we've said often on this program that South African companies are not taking the opportunities that they could in Africa, partly because they instinctively don't understand it. But you are there. Are there lessons that you've learned going out into Africa beyond South Africa?
Yeah, I would say on our geotechnical side of things, we're maybe treated a little bit like Royal Game. We're the second line of defence, if you like. You know, we work mainly for main contractors. So we are spared some of the problems that you do have in Africa, you know, so we sort of pitch up on site and say where the telephone's going, we use the toilets, you know, as opposed to having to put a lot of that stuff on the ground ourselves. But we are on the ground, you know, so we do own property, and you know, we have our own establishments in Angola, in Tanzania, Mauritius, Mozambique. So, but yeah, there are lessons. I mean, one of the big lessons is get upfront payments, make sure you get paid, and try and just keep that continuity of work going, because quite often you can go in, have a bad experience, and then work dries up. We do tend to get repeat business, so it has been pretty good for us.
A year from now, are we going to see similar increases, do you think, in earnings and revenue?
Yeah, most of our growth and increase in margins offshore and locally, well, especially locally, took place in the second part of this year that's just passed. So that is coming into this year. So we're looking forward to increasing our margins, increasing profit levels, and revenue coming up as well. We've got some very good prospects. As I say, we've got quite a big capex drive going forward. It's all based on the back of awarded contracts. So we had two scenarios, a sort of lower scenario and a higher scenario, and we're somewhere in between the two at the moment. So we are spending money, we are buying yellow metal, but as I say, it's not on speculation against infrastructure spend. It's on the back of some good contracts and long-term contracts.
We'll have to stop there. That was Bernie Krone, CEO of Esorfranki.